Let's talk about desire and love today. We grow up learning that desire and love are very closely linked. However, in many cases, this is not really correct. In fact, the result of fantasies recorded in anonymous surveys show us that sex with multiple partners come out on top. More interestingly, is who that partner is seem much less significant. While exploring this topic, I found that many of the emotions that create desire and turns us on and make sex enjoyable are even at the opposite spectrum to the emotion of love. Love at its core is a nurturing and protective emotion, while sexual desire is fueled by obstacles, distance, uncertainty, anticipation, the hidden power dynamics, and inequality, just to mention a few. So why is it so hard to keep desire alive in long-term relationships? They're because they're on opposite side of the spectrum. This does not mean that they can't coexist or that we can't have great desire and exciting sex with the people we love. But love is about closeness, certainty, caretaking, and safe attachment. Desire and excitement is about distance, uncertainty, and inequality. It's easy to fall into the trap of comfort, safety, and familiarity, as this is a core human need designed for our survival, so we naturally gravitate towards that comfort, and that can dampen desire. We often even give up desire just to feel safe, and we simply forget it over time. Because as you've seen above, what feeds desire is a polar opposite of what feeds secure attachment. Men also often feel they can't have the sexual experiences they really want with the women they love, because they've learned they should treat a woman with respect, and we should. However, some of the emotions that create our hottest sexual experiences are not really deemed respectful. This brings up the question of shame, and we'll deal with that in another video. Right now, I want to pose you a question so you can reflect a bit. Is it respectful to hide who we are from the person we love? Is it not more respectful to share who we really are and allow our partner to do the same than to pretend, hide, and suppress our desires? So how can we have security and excitement in the same relationship? Before giving you a solution to that question, I want to put it into context. As children, we get the feeling of safety from our parents. This safety allows us to go explore the world and experience excitement and having new experiences, making new friends. And when we feel scared, we run back to our parents for safety. As we become adults, we try to merge both these into one person, our romantic relationship, and we suddenly expect one person to both provide the safe attachment and the excitement. And this can be problematic. As I said, they're opposite and therefore often subdue each other. I came to realize that we don't have to be one thing all the time. Just like we don't feel one emotion all the time or act the same around, different people. We can also love our partner and at the same time express our sexual emotions towards our partner. Being kind has its place, but being the same all the time is not fully sharing the human experience. While some of the more hidden parts of sexuality and desire that we'll discuss later in other videos are often seen as not being loving, I would argue that sharing openly and vulnerably and being accepted is a critical part of love and makes our connection stronger. So how can you create the novelty, unpredictability, anticipation, and distance in a long-term relationship to keep that desire alive? I think there are three main categories. One is we need to have surprise. We need to have time apart, and we need to see each other in social settings. So I will go into much more depth than these in my ebook that you can buy, but essentially surprise gives us that novelty and newness. So it allows us to experience new things in a new way, and it also builds that anticipation. The social settings is exactly what it means. It is that very often when we stay together and only see each other one-on-one, then we forget what it is that made us feel attracted to that person in the first place, because we get stuck in these habits that we have together. So seeing them suddenly in a social setting can remind us of their attractiveness, seeing other people be attracted to them and remind us of how they also are when we are not in our little bubble. And the last one, which was time apart, is essentially what it says as well, is spending time apart. If you're constantly together, there's no newness, there's no anticipation, everything is familiar, and desire decrease. So you can feel close, you can feel love, and yet make sure you do have time apart, different hobbies, maybe travel and do things where you're not constantly together. So these are just a few suggestions. We go into much more details in my book, but this hopefully have given you some good ideas for now. Take care and see you in the next video.